Hello?
Hey,
Okay, I was supposed to make sure my headphones are broken or not because you weren't saying anything.
what's that?
Let's make sure my headphones weren't broken because you weren't saying anything.
You weren't saying anything.
That's also true, but usually you say hello first.
Why is it my job? Where is it written it's my job?
It's in the contract and between the paragraphs 4, 5, and 6.
Shit, there's a contract?
You signed it in your drunken stupor.
Damn it.
So, a lot's happened. Um, uh, let's just say that Stefan kind of went incognito.
You what?
Let's just say Stefan kind of went incognito.
Stefan did?
Yeah,
Why?
just a lot happened. I'm not gonna say much more other than like let's just say that the group that he made is now Steve's group now. Like he's now like the control of the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Stefan seems to be still in contact with some of us, but for the most part, I guess he left to go find themselves. I can't really say much. So I don't want to say anything negative or anything, say anything wrong.
I'm not going to do anything with the information.
It's not that. I just don't want to like. You still got Steve's contact. You could probably ask him because he knows a little more than what happened than I do. Um, That's if he wants to share with you. I don't know. I just thought I'd let you know that now.
Um, I think really like
By the way, we are
my
live.
involvement of it is more like,
We are live. By the way, just saying.
uh, my
Guess it's
involvement in it would be more just to be here as your friend. If you felt like talking about something, then to be going after the tea. You know what I mean? So I hope you're okay.
no, I'm fine as fine it can be. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess from the sounds of it, I had some involvement. I only found out through Steve, but
You know,
again, no,
I
like
don't really like to get in fights with people or stir things up. If you haven't noticed, like a game night group doesn't get in fights. You know what I mean? Like we just kind of play games and do our thing. And if you want to come, you come. You know.
mhm. So anything happened funny since I didn't come to the last group night? Again, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We had a game night with Digi and Katie, and then the last one was just me, Jesse, and Digi, and we played Overcooked, which was actually really fun.
How'd you play
And
Overcooked with 3 people?
it was actually perfect because we all sucked equally. We're all three of us are really bad at Overcooked, and we just kind of like laughed at ourselves
I'm
and had
surprised
a good
Digi's
time.
computer can handle that.
What?
I'm surprised Digi's computer can handle that.
Well,
Because Digi's computer can't like, from what I understand, he can't. His computer can't handle 3D games.
well, no, we all played it.
That's a
He didn't have any problems with
that's a shot.
connectivity or anything. If anything, my computer was having a tough time.
Maybe he got a new computer and I didn't know it.
I don't know.
It's like,
It's not. It's pretty cartoony for a 3D game.
yeah, but the way he made it sound like his computer couldn't play 3D. Period. It's the main reason why he runs Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, or any other game, or even like Killer Black Clean. Those are 2D games.
He's
So
so good to Jesse that maybe he knew that Jesse wanted to play it, so maybe he wasn't complaining much, but it was having maybe he was having issues, but not complaining
it sounds like Digi.
because Jesse really wanted to play. He's really sweet when it comes to Jesse, so maybe he was just taking one for the team.
I guess maybe it's like a top-down 3D. It's just okay. Maybe the
Yeah,
game
I
just
don't know.
maybe just the game just optimized for his computer. I have no idea.
Don't know. It took him a long time to set it up. It took him like 30, 40 minutes to get it going.
Well, now I'm getting like random Google stuff about that Dragon Ball Super movie trailer that I talked to you about.
Oh yeah,
It's not much of a transformation. He just loses his arm. He just loses his lines on his arms, so he just becomes more smooth.
that's weird.
And he goes golden a little bit. It seems to be like whenever it comes to aliens that aren't human-like, they tend to go golden a lot. I'm noticing.
Yeah,
I guess Piccolo is just not an exception in that. I mean, we'll see how important he is. I mean, Gohan is supposed to be him and Gohan are supposed to be the main characters of that movie, and it seems kind of interesting because he's wearing the gi that Piccolo gave him all those years ago. So it's even weirder to me. It's like that's odd. They're kind of doing a throw. Then again, the enemies are androids, so I guess it is a throwback to the Cell Saga.
you ever watch like the Dragon Ball Heroes episodes?
No, I've never watched that.
It's
I
so bad.
hmm?
They're just like barely tied together fight scenes.
It's really just based on the gacha game, I think, or is it not? Is it the gacha game? I forgot what it was. There's a game in Japan that I'm pretty sure that thing is loosely based off of. It's just like
Yeah,
it's just like fan favorite ideas, stuff like that. I don't think it's bad. I just never really had an interest in it because I noticed that there's a version of Goku and Vegeta in there called Xeno, and they're supposed to be like time travelers from a different timeline altogether. I don't know where I don't know where exactly they're from, but all I do know is that they have access to Super Saiyan 4, and that's the transformation that apparently isn't canon anymore. I don't really know. It's really weird because they have access to it, and then when they fuse into Vegito, they gain even more super. Their Vegito has access to Super Saiyan 4. So there's a lot of like transformations that don't exist in the main timeline, but because the anime is around, they can do a lot of stuff. I mean, even Broly got a Super Saiyan 4 transformation.
oh yeah.
It was weird. It was I think it's called Legendary Super Saiyan 4. So there's a lot of like fan and I think involved in that. Uh, it's
One
not.
of the funny things is that happens a lot in there is there's two Gokus.
I was saying there's a Xeno
There's the
Goku, and
one
I
from
think
Dragon Ball Super and then the one from GT, and they meet each other a lot. And
well, I don't maybe Xeno Goku is from GT. I don't really know. It doesn't make sense because GT Goku was a little kid. As far as I know, Xeno Goku is a is like a time patroller.
yeah,
You would have to have played Xenoverse, which is why I'm referred to him as Xeno Goku because that's his official name is he's Xeno Goku.
yeah.
And there's Xeno Vegeta too, and he's also a time patroller. It's all really weird because I think from the way they made it seem like, at least from what I can tell, I think the idea is that these are like people who know the time jumper of Trunks. Like they actually are traveling with him and whatnot. Something's going on with the time traveling business, which I think which is allows them to exist the way they do.
Hmm.
So I don't really know. I didn't really pay much attention to it. Not that the show's bad. I just like I got other anime I'm trying to watch. No offense to that series. I got other anime that I'm trying to watch. I don't got time to blow my brains out over the canonicity of a lot of it all. At the moment I saw Legendary Super Saiyan 4 Broly, I said, "Yep, definitely not for me." Oh, apparently Broly's supposed to make an appearance in that movie too. The one that they fixed the retconned a lot of the history of. The one that Goku befriended, I should say.
The new the
The Broly from Super.
Toriyama Goku.
No, the regular Goku, like the one that we are familiar with
I'm
from
sorry, the
Super.
Toriyama Broly.
Yeah, I guess we could say, like, yeah, that version of Broly, he is supposed to appear in the movie.
That's cool.
So I don't know. I think I'm hearing this either a rumor or that's where I saw somewhere, but I'm kind of confused like how they're gonna make him appear. Because I don't think they gave him the ability to teleport, or if I'm remembering that wrong, I have no idea. I'm not remembering the end of the movie that well.
Hmm.
It's funny because he's still alive, so he is in the universe.
Zoe, please don't walk in front. My
Okay.
cat.
Yeah,
Sometimes my cat just like sleeps on the keyboard, and I come in, and her sleeping on the keyboard has sent somebody like 85 messages, or she's like managed to turn some setting on my computer that takes me 15 minutes to figure out how to turn it off.
yeah. Your cats usually go for warmth, so I'm pretty sure your keyboard just might have a hotspot. I don't know what that means, but okay. With that, welcome to the next episode of the Anime4All podcast.
Zoe,
I am here with Jock. We're here to review the latest two episodes of Shaman King, episodes 45 and 46, I think. Yeah, I called that number right. Usually I'm usually a number off. Okay. Uh, the,
46 and 45 we're doing today.
well, we're doing 45 first, but um,
I
episode
didn't
40.
say what order.
Dang it, Jock. Uh, episode 45, the first and last, the revived, the Lyserg enter. Oh, that's right. Lyserg just like stops a fight between Ren and How. Well, not Ren and How.
We'll
Jesus.
probably,
Ren,
yeah, we'll probably
Ren
do
and
45 first, but we're not going to do 45 last. We'll probably do it first and then do 46, right?
that's the order. That's the order of numbers. Yes.
Why did you say 45 would be the first and last then?
Dang it, Jock. I'm talking about the title of the dang episode.
Then why did you say the first and last?
That's the title of the episode.
Well, you should make that clearer then. People might not understand.
We're back, people. At least I hope. This is an alternate timeline. The episode's title is The First and Last. I thought I said that before, but apparently Jock says I didn't. Or she's trying to be a jerk. It's probably both. The
No,
revived
no, no,
lies.
no. I just wanted to make it clear. So we're going to do episodes 45 and 46. We're going to we're going to talk about episode 45 first tonight. And then we're going to do 46, which is the most recent episode, as at the time of this podcast. Episode 46's title is True Justice, and the title of episode 45 is The First and Last. But it's not the last episode because the most recent episode is 46, which is higher than it's like more recent than 46. But the episode is called The First and the Last. Right, Jeremy?
I think you angered my internet. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I think you angered my internet. I don't know how you did that.
That's pretty narcissistic of you to think that the whole internet is yours.
Dang it, Jock. Okay, going on with the summary of everything that just happened there. The revived Lyserg interrupts the Shaman fight as the Exiles and Sati cooperate to end the tournament and enter into the next phase. That night, Hao joins Yo's group in a bath and reveals Manta's father is after the Great Spirit, whom they find in the Mu continent. Unable to stop him, all participants join with Hao to stop Mamado's forces. I was Manta's father. Um, I guess we could just talk about this off the cuff. Uh, Interesting
This
how I
we're in
completely
episode
forgot.
45, right?
Yes, we're still talking about episode 45.
Okay.
Ren and Yo's fight continues. Well, more like Ren. They start the episode off with Ren still shocking Yo in that creepy skeleton thing. After the assault, Yo is burnt to a crisp. If I
His
didn't,
headphones are fine.
I wasn't really focusing on the headphones, but sure, this is anime.
No, his headphones are fine.
As I said, but this is anime. That's the only reason they're fine. Um,
But he says, like, way to go, but his headphones are fine. Like, he's just kind of grinning, and he gets up later and the headphones still work.
Yeah, this is anime. Like they probably won't. They probably weren't thinking that far ahead or
Is it like
cared about detail.
yeah, but like maybe he has. It could be, but I mean, the way the attention to detail this anime has, it's possible that he has some sort of shaman power over technology.
He is not a technomancer, and so far there has not been no technomancers, and I don't think technomancers are even a thing in this show.
Yeah, but he's the shaman king, so I mean, we could definitely make an possible exception for him, right?
He's not the Shaman King.
He, I mean, that's the whole point is that he will someday become the shaman king.
We don't know that.
He says it like every 10 seconds in the series.
Yeah, just because he says he's going to become it doesn't mean he's going to become it.
Yeah, but that's the hint right there. That's the canonical hint that like we know
No,
he's going to become the shaman. We know he's going to become the shaman king because he.
based on the fact that he says that whoever's going to become Shaman King is going to be the last person standing. If he's hoping it's him, does not mean that it's going to be him.
I know, but like he's been saying it through the whole series. He's the main character.
Everybody's been saying it.
He's the only one that like he's the only real hope. He talks about things like maybe learning how to heal himself. He like rises up to the challenge of everything, and now we know he's even a technomancer.
That's not a thing in this universe.
It wasn't a thing, but now it is because he can do it. Like he has immortal headphones, and like they never run out of charge, and they can take unlimited amounts of damage. They've been to hell and back. Like, how does his immortal headphones work unless he's a technomancer?
It's a detail that they probably just didn't care about.
They care about everything.
This is not My Hero Academia where every little thing has meaning, by the way.
This is more detailed than My Hero Academia.
How is his headphones not being damaged have anything to do with the story of this thing? Or even his abilities?
I mean, you can look up almost any little detail in this entire thing and fall down a wormhole of like 10,000 details about how incredibly elaborately built this anime is. So how can you say with complete surety that that was a mistake?
I didn't say it's a mistake, I said I don't really cared about it.
I don't know, dude. I think you're reaching.
I think you're reaching. And he just snuck there too. Now he's having me go back to the episode and actually look at these headphones. He's like, obviously he's poking fun at, but still.
You've never seen him without headphones on. Like, clearly, like, his headphones work no matter what. It's not like he's got a big bag of, like, replacement headphones he carries around.
You don't know that.
You don't know. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't carry anything with him at any time.
He doesn't carry the Shaman spirit, but yet it still comes out of nowhere.
You don't carry a spirit.
Yes, you do.
Hey, Bob, what's in the bag? Oh, it's a spirit. That's not how spirits work.
You don't know that.
Now you're being difficult.
You started this.
You started this.
Just having a look at this. No, there's some damage done to it. There's like some dark spots on the top of his headphones. On the headband.
Not a couple seconds later, though, he has self-healing headphones.
Now that I think that's just an animation mistake. By the way, this show's animation's been kind of going off the rails, I've been noticing.
Doesn't even wear them in the bath.
He doesn't put them in the water.
He bathes with headphones on.
He doesn't put them in the water, though.
Okay, but it's not like it's like Legos that are at least waterproof.
And I could get into this Legos, because I know you gotta have an entire rant, because I see it in your notes. Again. And I was thinking about this when I was watching the episode too. I was like, oh great, we're gonna have another Lego rant, aren't we? I said, speaking of the burntness on the yo, I actually started remembering this while he's looking at the episode. I guess that was the elemental earth spirit that was protecting him. I'm guessing I guess the electricity didn't really hurt Yo, but it looked like it hurt him though, which is odd.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Did it like do something to his conductivity or something? Like, how did they justify him not being as damaged as he could be.
I don't know. I thought at first that until they showed the little stone coming off of Yo's sword that I thought like he used the
See, you know
sword to
what might
redirect
be?
lightning.
I looked this up at one point. There was like a wheel to this, isn't there?
I really don't remember this, Will. I mean, I don't know if you had the notes down for that because I didn't have the notes
This
down
was
for it.
a long time ago when I took my notes on this and I looked into it. There was a wheel like element to this where like the everything followed like a wheel dynamic, and the wheel would kind of like revolve around, and forgive me for kind of mumbling about this as I'm trying to talk it through, but each element had a counter on that wheel that we were talking about with the elements.
Hmm.
So it's possible that Earth was the counter to the water element because each one had an element that was like its opposite.
But Ren hit him with lightning though.
Well, that's what well, I'm sorry. It might be that Earth was the counter to lightning, though. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the counter was, but it's possible that that was what was going on. That he had the counter like element to lightning. So when Ren noticed it, he was like, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" He survived that really well, which might be because he had the counter to it, like the natural counter to the elemental boost, to the elemental attack.
I I guess it's the only way you could justify it. It didn't look like he had time to activate it, but then again, no one really has time to activate anything in this show.
Yeah.
I guess another thing too, I guess this was already kind of stated horror, but I didn't know he had the elemental spirit of water. They explained that later on that he has the water spirit. Like, oh, okay, so that's what the spirit he had. 'Cause I was trying, is there a spirit of ice? No, he's just using the spirit of water to freeze everything. So he's using the water spirit to make water, and he can just use it. He can use his ability to manipulate ice to freeze it all, thus giving him an infinite supply of ice. I also like to point out too, if they do have these spirits, I'm surprised that they haven't really fully manifested them here, because Hal is fully manifesting the spirit of fire. Who, by the way, we gotta talk about too, because apparently Lyser got the spirit of fire as well. I'm very confused by that. Hello?
I hear you. I'm
Oh,
thinking about it. Lyser got the spirit of fire.
that's what they said, is that he chose the spirit of fire.
Well, yeah. Well, somebody has to take the fire spirit. Um, when
But no, Hal has it though.
right, but the plan was to take his fire spirit when he goes into the shaman sleep. So somebody had to be ready to take it from him when he goes into the shaman sleep and take it over. So Lyser was going to take the fire spirit.
But it makes it seem like he already had a spirit though.
Yeah, I didn't. I think in the meantime he took over his anger or something like that as his spirit. I wasn't 100% clear on how that worked, but that was what was going on there. That Lyserg um, had taken on um, the fire spirit as his own, and that was like the thing. But I wasn't 100% clear on how that exactly was working in the anime either. But I think in the meantime he doesn't have a full spirit. Like I think in the meantime he has like something that's like tiding him over until that point.
Uh, okay. Um,
I'm sorry that I don't have a better explanation for
no,
it,
it's
but
fine. It's fine. 'Cause I'm still confused. But I guess we'll backtrack a little bit before all that. Ren and Yo are fighting. Yo managed to survive, not completely unscathed from the lightning barrage, but as they're about to
yeah.
clash, Lashley then jumps in and stops them both. This shocks Ren, completely catches everybody else off guard. Lashley's like, this fight is pointless, and all of a sudden, Gandhara shows up along with Lashley, and I think somebody else. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, Maiden and the Maiden Sama, Iron Maiden, and essentially, to make things completely short and condensed, Gandhara decides to their job is done. They gave the spirits over to the five warriors. They back at a tournament. Um, and because there needs to be four teams that go on to the final round. Uh, it's Yo's team, Ren's team, X-Laws who are back because last year was up and running now, and the fourth one I forgot. Oh, and Hal's group,
Yeah, how's the actual team?
Hal's
So
team. Like so, there's four groups of people now, and now they move on to the next tournament, the next phase of the tournament, which was like random to me. Was like, okay, this is kind of going quicker than I was expecting.
okay, so I'm sorry, Lyser's Oversoul in my notes was the next thing. His Oversoul incorporates elements of Morphia and Zuriel, which are flames of hatred. So he has an Oversoul that's not the fire spirit for the time being, but he will take the fire spirit soul when Hal is out. But right now he has like a one that's kind of carrying him over.
That's still confusing to me because that means he went to hell to fight his own demons, only to come out with his flames of hatred that he's somehow manifesting.
He got stronger and he's prepared. He's ready to take an elemental oversoul, but right now Hal has it, so he has something that is like tiding him over, but he will be able to take it once it's ready, which is now, as soon as he can get to it, basically.
Okay, apparently Zero translated, and I'm going to say this is a loosely translated, is arm of God.
The arm of God.
Theology in the Bible, yeah. I think this is loosely translated, but it looks
Okay.
like it translates to the arm of God. So that's what he's got. But here it says Zuriel is the rock of God. So I don't what? Oh no, there's two. That's Zuriel. Never mind. Sorry, arm of God. Apparently there's like a long list of names here. Um, this is Hebrew. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm very confused. I know you're explaining it, and I'm getting it somewhat, but it's like I was sitting here like, okay, so I guess the next question. Well, I guess we'll get to that in a minute. Um, essentially they all kind of stop the fight, and I guess now they're all in peacetime and preparing for the next stage of the tournament. Um, again, this kind of happened really quick. So it's like it's kind of like Whiplash, but after all that's taken care of, I want to say I think they're back at the. Yeah, I will say that his oversoul of all the other oversouls, I will say it wasn't an armored oversoul, and they actually specifically mention armored oversoul. Actually, a couple of times here. I guess last service wasn't armored yet. Oh, I guess like after all this is done, the Apache tribe is gonna like, wait for this great spirit to tell them what's next in the order of things, and they all go back to the place where Yo and everybody is staying. Even Hal comes here because his tent was burnt, which I thought was random, but um still think it's random. But now they're all just relaxing together, just like taking some time to recuperate. Apparently, Ren and Yo are sharing a bath together, which is kind of funny. Ren decides that he's going to go off and train. Yo says that your impatience is what nearly stopped you from being able to fight me in the first place, and immediately goes back into the onsen. And the reason he gives for that is that it's too cold, so he's going to stay inside the bath, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah,
And,
that was pretty good.
and then Yo makes mentions that everybody, their power up was amazing. He mentions Chocolate's power was amazing. He mentions the Horror's power was amazing, and then Ren specifically says that out of all of them, out of among the five of them, he's the weakest, which is
Very
very
humbling.
strange. And I think he mentions that Lyserg's the most powerful, which is even crazier. Like,
Well, if not crazy if you consider that Lyserg was basically battling his own hate right up until this point. Um, So it makes sense that he would be like, now that he's not fighting himself to like come through this, like it does make sense that like he would be very powerful. Um, you know what I mean? Like if he was that powerful when he was fighting himself and his own hatred every step of the way anime works, I would imagine that he would be very powerful at that point. That like he came together and united his two sides. Um, but also like it also makes sense now that we already know that he's going to be taking on the fire, like the most powerful of the oversouls.
I guess you're right. I mean, if I think about it in the way the anime works, they're just
We also saw his entrance when he came in and like
yeah. I mean, what was it? That
you
was
know
impressive. It was random. But it was
it was
impressive.
like basically like Evangelion worthy, you know.
It's funny you mentioned that because I also looked up when I was looking up Zurio. I think yes, yeah. Evangelion was the first thing that popped up.
Oh really? It made me think of Evangelion when you saw that
it,
big blast go up in the sky because that's something
it's
that you would see
funny
in that anime.
because Zurelio is an angel in that anime. Um, it's
Yeah,
really weird. And
maybe it's
apparently
like a
it had to
one
be.
of them's nod to the other. I don't know.
I know Evangelion's an old anime. I know the original Shaman King run was an old. Well, the Shaman King stuff was an old run anyway.
Yeah, maybe one
It's
of
been
them
done for
influenced the other.
years.
I liked that we got a layout of the different characters and their oversouls, even though we kind of know some of them. Like Ren, I don't know why they mention Taoism with Ren, but they don't mention like specifically for the others. But
Well,
Ren's,
Ren's entire thing is Taoism, though. Hold up.
yeah, that's a good point. But his powers are lightning and thunder, and then Horo Horo is blessed rain, and it looks like some sort of horde and demon thing. I thought, but then I looked at some of the other ones, and they all sort of had that demon look to them too. But the whole time I was watching them, there was like it triggered something in the back of my memory, but I couldn't put my finger on it. There was something about the look of those demons that made me think, you know what those things are in mythology, but I couldn't think of it. Chocolove was wind, which didn't quite make sense for me, but I guess because he's
Well,
so lighthearted
what's
and
that's because specifically, and this is also something that he specifically says. He wants to be the wind of laughter. He wants to be able to, and it has something to do with him wanting to be
uh,
lighthearted, but
yeah,
he wants to be able to take away people's like hatred and whatnot and have them laugh. It's all a part of his like, and also they mention the Aztecs, which I think also is something that Chocolove was put into when he was training with his master. I believe that's also, but I don't know what the wind and the Aztecs have to do anything. I'm looking up Taoism right now in thunder or lightning, and I all I'm getting right now is this one article. I'm not gonna read all the way. I haven't actually read it. It's like the title says Taoist thunder magic, illustrated with the example of the divine protector Chao Kung Ming. Um, the abstract since the 12th century, the term thunder magic rituals has been a label for a great number of exorcist rituals that are consecutive parts of religious Taoism. The article considers the emergence of thunder magic in Taoist history and then focuses on the martial thunder divinity Chao Kung Ming in order to illustrate who is this.
what are you talking about with that last part? Who is this?
No, Chao Kung Ming. They keep mentioning this guy's name, and it probably has something to do with Taoism and thunder. Uh, again, again, there's a lot of gods in Taoism. Um,
Yeah, I mean every mythology has a lot of gods.
um, hmm. I, I don't. When I look up this guy's character, this name, I'm getting a lot of Zhao Gungming. So unless that is a romanization that's completely wrong, then it's actually Zhao. but apparently he's a god of wealth, which has nothing to do with lightning. So I am also still very confused. The ways and means of thunder rituals. There's a lot of talk about thunder magic, so I'm guessing that's where the lightning and the Taoism kind of come into play. There's something specific in Taoism that has something to do with lightning or thunder in this case.
Hmm. Okay.
It sounds like there's something. I'm not gonna read all this, but there is something apparently that has something to do with lightning.
Well, then I guess maybe that's why they threw Taoism in there to help it make sense why he specifically got it. Because otherwise, it's just like, oh, Ren got lightning, and it didn't really specifically fit him as well. But there's like
Well,
part of me that kind of gets why Yo would get earth and trees. You know what I mean?
I
Because
think
he's
Ren is
grounded.
more like lightning just strikes really quickly, and that's a part of like Ren's attack style, and a part of why he
Well, I
changed it.
disagree. I don't think he's the strikes quickly type. If you've noticed in a lot of the recent fights, he stops and thinks while everybody else is rushing forward to attack.
That doesn't mean he won't strike quickly. I mean, part of like the thing he says like he wants to build up energy for one strike, and technically speaking, all lightning is just built up energy in a single spot that rises from the ground. If, in this case, he's not really rising from the ground, but I guess the same principle still kind of applies.
Yeah, I just mean that like a Ren seems to like know when to hang back, and he might talk big, but like he knows when to hang back and like see what's going to happen next. And seen that in a lot of fights where they're like, "What are you going to do about it?" You know, and Ren's hanging back and he's watching to see what's going to happen next, and then he comes out and says the smartest thing out of them all. Um, I disagree about him being like so fast to move. Like I think he's become like very much. It might be part of his character arc, but I think he's become very much a thinker out of the group. I think he's always kind of standing back and thinking about what to do next, more than the other characters even. I've actually started to really like that about his character.
Huh. I wonder why
When he
Elastigirl
does
is
strike,
only
he's fast. You know what I mean? And that may be an unpredictable, fast, unpredictable hit lightning. But I would almost argue that like the reason that lightning fits him is because they sort of gave you that explanation. They're like, yeah, lightning and thunder spells, you know, like Taoism. And they had to sort of tell you because otherwise maybe for a Japanese audience it wouldn't make a lot of sense. They'd be like, what? Why lightning? You know what I mean? So they had to kind of give you that nod wink
Li
so that it made sense to
Li
the
Dong.
viewers.
Oh, okay. So here's another thing. Apparently, there's a Taoist deity, and his name is Lei Gong, and it translates to Duke of Thunder.
Oh wow.
Not that it has anything to do with Ren, because like Ren's name is not this. I mean, granted, his I guess you could consider Tao Ren Lei Shin, Chinese Taoist deity who is also, who, when so ordered by heaven, punishes both earthly mortal guilty of secret crimes and evil spirits who have used their knowledge of Taoism to harm humans. Jeez. Um, he carries a drum and a mallet to produce thunder and a chisel to punish evil. Why a chisel? Huh. Okay, I guess enough of random that has nothing to do with really what anything to do with what's going on right now. Man, they got a lot of nice statues actually. And then again, China is a really old continent, so I guess this is not to be not expected.
Yeah, China's been around for a minute, you know.
Okay, with that, one of the most random thing. Oh, hey, Rai,
Hypotheticals.
sorry your keyboard died. Jeez. Um, oh, and then how I'm gonna just preface this right now. The next couple of minutes is gonna be talking about why there's so many naked little boys in one scene. It may be incredibly uncomfortable, but we're just gonna move on like pretend it didn't happen. This is your disclaimer. Uh, Hal shows up out of nowhere and says, I told you I was gonna take a bath, and I thought he was gonna take a bath in the last episode that he was in with Yo, but apparently no, he's gonna take one now. Um, it was very random. Actually, funny enough, as soon as Hal shows up and starts talking, Lyserg jumps from wherever the heck he is and strikes him. Nude, by the way. This is getting. I was thinking this entirely as I was watching this episode. I don't know. I'm getting uncomfortable with the amount of nudity right now. He strikes him, but how pretty much just holds back Lyserg, saying that even though this is like a very small, massive energy, it's still strong enough to hold you back. Um, I guess also they bring up the fact that there's like Lyserg's like fire elemental having anything to do with how Lyserg comes out and say that it has nothing to do with him. It's more dealing with the hatred in his own soul that he's managed to conquer. Um, Hal pretty much just shows up to tell them that there's more trouble coming their way. Um, and funny enough, it has something to do with Mata. Um,
Mata.
which is even crazier. Like his father. I thought I saw his father on that ship last time we were looking at it. I was like, oh. Um, apparently Mata's father knows about the spirit of fire. It kind of got me thinking that maybe there's more to Mata than we know of. I mean, Yo
Nah,
mentioned about
still irrelevant.
there might be more to Mata than we know of.
No,
Uh,
still irrelevant.
there might be more to Mata than we know of, and apparently, I have a sneaky suspicion it's probably a reason why his father didn't want him associating with Yo. Um, more so than him wanting his son to run the empire, whatever the empire is. Uh, apparently, with that first strike alerted most of the government to the location of this tournament. And apparently, we learned more about like that. It seems like the people that follow Hal were all like ostracized from society because of their abilities. Um, that was even weirder too. Um, but we also learned that apparently the tournament is being the tournament for Shaman King battle is happening on. Well, we might just come out and say it. It's apparently being held on the sunken city of Atlantis, which I think you brought up last time we were talking about this.
I did. They called it, but it's not exactly Atlantis. The sunken city is called Mu, M-U, and the MU actually has a pretty cool history to it, so I did look into it. MU is often interchangeably mentioned with Atlantis, and it's also often like made a alternate name for it. But it was introduced by Augustus de Le Plongeon, um, and it's considered like pseudoscience that there was this big lost continent between North America and Asia, and like Australia and South America in the Pacific Ocean. And it was discussed in detail in 1954 by L. Sprague de Camp. And it's basically the idea here is that a bunch of volcanic eruptions created like this porous rock that was full of gas, and the gas caused the rock to float. So it came up to the surface and it floated because it had these huge gas chambers that it was holding together. But a series of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions happened one day that basically caused a lot of the continent to crack open and sink, and there was a lot of fire because of the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, and it sunk back down under the ocean and just went straight back down. So the idea there is there was like a floating continent, which you've heard of, like floating continents a billion times, and that it sunk under the ocean, and that there was a lot of things went back to like biblical times about flood myths and floating continents and sunken continent myths and things like that. And there's been a lot of theories before, like people knew as much about geology as they do now, like about like Easter Island and the statues being maybe a remnant of the continent, you know what I mean, where they were sitting there, and maybe that was like a piece of the continent that never sunk and things like that. We know all that stuff is completely impossible now, but they still find like pieces of like underwater structures and stuff like that that people still say like, oh, these underwater structures that can't be explained must be part of like the lost continent of Mu and blah 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 blah. Um, and people say that the cataclysmic events began 800,000 years ago until like 9,564 BC when the last catastrophe happened and so forth. So it's like there's a lot of like conspiracy theory borderline things that are talking about there and pseudoscience and stuff like that that continue to try to make it a real place. Um, it's not exactly like Atlantis, and it's separate from the Atlantis thing, particularly because a lot of it's connected to Mayan. That like when it was first like brought out into being, like it was brought out from an interpretation of a translation of some Mayan um, ruins and like texts that were like in Mayan, like that were translated over. And the person that had done that had Augustus de Pongrian had claimed that his first copies of like translations from the sacred book of Quiche from the Mayan had told stories about this, and that was like kind of where it had started out. Whereas Atlantis had, other origins of the myth, but they were similar enough where they became kind of interchangeable sometimes. So it's not exactly Mayan, and I think it's important to keep that in mind because, I mean, it's not exactly Atlantis, and I think it's important to keep that in mind specifically because Mu, which is the one that they're talking about, is of Mayan origin, and that fits the patch a lot better than what we were thinking.
That's history, which I let him handle that because he knows more about that. But I guess while you're doing that and the whole mysteries of the world, and the Easter Arrowheads, it got me wanting to look into Stonehenge, and I don't know why I remember looking at this before and seeing that there was no explanation, but now I'm starting to see there's some explanation that they're saying. I mean, one of them is like not really possible because then we really don't know if Merlin existed or not. But Stonehenge is what I'm getting at in terms of like random things like it mentioned the anime that they use for plot points. Um, I don't think I've seen Stonehenge used in anime. Then again, there might be some that use it. Um, but I guess what I'm saying is like it makes you wonder, or like some of the things that we do. I guess it's where I'm jumping off the Easter Island heads. Like it makes you wonder where the heck were these where these come from first of all, and then what was their purpose? Because Stonehenge. I guess we're gonna talk about this a little bit, then we're gonna move on. But Stonehenge is one of those things that completely bothers me in the concept of like it's just a circle of rocks that don't really seem to serve a purpose, and there are people out here trying to get it to serve a purpose. It still confuses me. It's like, what's it? Why was it there for? Was it just one of those? It's like that. What was that black steel pillar that was put out into the Sahara Desert, I think, or not Sahara Desert. It was one of those things that happened in the United States where some guy pulled a prank on somebody and put like this, like he made like a stone column that was painted, well, like made out of some material. Nobody knew what it was, and people thought it may have been dropped by aliens. Only kind of find out a week later that it was just some guy who was pranking some people. But things like that make you like wondering if this is like one of like the if this is one of just one of these longest running pranks we'll never get a solution towards it because the person who probably did this is long since dead. It didn't leave a message or anything saying ha ha pranked you.
I mean, one possibility with things like that, what we're talking about, is that Stonehenge, because it's so ancient, you've got to remember that there could have been like scaffolding and a million things like built into it that we don't know about. So like it could have been like part of a giant building or something, for example, and that we just have no way of knowing that because we can't see the building. So it's hard to be sure exactly how deep that rabbit hole goes when you think about something that way.
Yeah, but when I look at this, I just don't even. You think I know things decay over time, and eventually something will decay into nothing. But it's like even with that, you think that this structure, if it was an ancient building, of some ancient people. Um, it's weird to think that of all the things that stood the test of time is stone pillars. Considering how much the Earth moves anyway, and like the continents.
I mean, why not stone? Stone sounds like a fantastic thing to like endure.
I know it just to me, and I'm probably thinking about this too much. And it's one of the reasons I don't like. This is the reason I don't like thinking about Stonehenge because I go down this rabbit hole and I think about it too much. But I guess it's one of those mysteries that unfortunately, why it's so intriguing is unfortunately we'll probably never know what in the world this was unless somebody comes out and tells us. And unfortunately, that will never happen because the time period in which this came from was a long, long time ago.
I mean, I think sometimes people just say like, "I want to build a thing," you know, like the pyramids. Like, yes, they were a tomb and religious and stuff like that, but like when you think about it that way, like someone just like, "I want to build this because it fits my religious beliefs," and then
But those
they
lasted though forever though. I mean, and people still like keep them up too.
Stonehenge lasted forever, and people still keep it up too.
This doesn't look kept up to me.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I know they memorialize it. It's just one of those things. It bothers me on such a deep level.
With Stonehenge, they found recently found another level to it. Like
What?
they recently discovered that there was like another level to Stonehenge, like another circle of rocks that was like
Is it underneath the
used to be
ground?
there or something.
Oh.
Yeah, there was an article that came out. I can't remember 100% because I didn't exactly know I'd be preparing for this conversation,
I
but
mean, no,
like,
I mean that's my fault. I'm sorry. I just you brought up Easter Island. I just wanted to talk about things that we know we'll never know because unfortunately either they were made uh the time they were talked about and they weren't relevant. It was a long time ago. But
yeah, no. I just wanted to comment on that, but that like with Stonehenge, they did find like, um, sorry, they did recently discover that there was like another circle of rocks or something underneath it, which I think is kind of cool. Like, go look it up. Like, it was a few years ago that they made the discovery.
I've actually heard about this. I don't really know. I don't really think about Stonehenge that much. I'll probably give it a good look at some point. It's actually on the topic of this and random bits of random history that there's well not history but random landmarks or whatever that people can't prove. Um, in the world, they bring up the Bermuda Triangle, even though they don't bring it up by name. How kind of just cheeky brings it up of like there's a triangle out there that people go into and never come out. I just thought it was funny that he brings up the Bermuda Triangle.
I thought that was interesting. It was sort of like a passing reference.
Yeah, he's being cheeky. I mean, it's all really was. I don't think he meant anything by it. It's just one of those. He brought it up in conjunction with Moo. So I thought it was just pretty funny that he brings that up. I was like, okay, so we now know the Bermuda Triangle is in this world.
Yeah, it's now canon.
Like we know. I mean, maybe we should have thought about that before. I guess never thought about it too much. It's like, okay, now we know it exists. Um, so I'm pretty sure we know the main reason why that is because planes go in there and compasses and everything go haywire. And it's all because of magnetic poles and all kinds of random stuff going on in there that we've yet to figure out how to navigate what's in there. Because I'm pretty sure there's something in there. We just don't know what is in there. And we probably won't know for a long while. It's like that. It's like that.
House moving, house moving castle just marches around in there, looks for things to eat.
I would buy it. Um, but because we got like that. We got that like that entire civilization out there that is separate from humanity altogether. Like they are very, very violent towards outsiders. So much so that if you go near them within like they have an entire area quarantined off, pretty far off from them, so that we don't enter the territory. Because they're very hostile to other people. It's like I guess you don't know what's really out there. Think about that too. Like it makes you wonder, like, how many other tribes or people are out there we don't know because they want to keep themselves distance from us.
Absolutely. So, are we just not going to talk about the fact that Horror likes a girl?
I don't know who they're talking about. I mean, I could care less. If I'm being
What do
honest.
you mean you could care less? Horror likes a girl.
Yeah, and Hal knows about it because apparently he can read minds. That he told just everybody now about that.
It's probably whatever female that was in the ice group, right?
You mean the one that nearly died? You mean the ones that nearly died?
Yeah.
I guess, but I thought she was older than he was. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know. They didn't say ages.
You can't like someone that's older than you.
No, I'm saying I don't think it would work out platonically.
Did you say platonically?
Moving on.
I don't think he likes her platonically.
Moving on.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
beyond that horror likes a girl thing. The battleships are invading the island, and pretty much Hal invites them to go and help fight them off because they don't want the world to know about this Shaman King tournament. Uh, Essentially, all I can really say is that this entire fight was just more or less Hal showing them how powerful he was, and I don't know if this was intended, but I think maybe he wanted them to back out of the fight. He got what he wanted, but
What did you feel about the fact that the battleships had shamans with them?
we only saw one, well, two shamans. I was going to say we only saw like one shaman. Like we saw two shamans.
We saw
A voodoo
a
girl and
voodoo woman and
an ex-law.
one of the ex-laws.
Again, that just makes me wonder, like, did Monta's father know about the shamans? Like, is there some secret shaman line in their family that they don't know about? Because it brings attention to me because early on in the early days of this show, when Monta got hurt, his father like lost it, and he didn't want him hanging around with Yo, and it was never totally explained why. Um, I didn't even think about it too much back then because again, Monte really was just a side character that was there for comic relief and to be best friends with Yo. Um, and then Yo embraced the fact that like Monte doesn't talk about his family and because he hates them, and that was pretty obvious based on how he acts around them. Um, his mother seems to care a lot, and his sister seems to care a lot, but his father just seems to be a
Yeah.
big old douche canoe.
It makes sense to me. I hate Manta too.
Wow. Okay.
Is that what you were saying? I'm sorry.
No, no,
Uh,
not at all. It just makes me wonder. It's like I wonder like is there some secret shaman in their family that like maybe that died and that's part of the reason why I think his father hates shamans. I don't think that was ever stated, but I'm starting to think based on all this and how much of the spirit world that his father knew about makes me wonder like I mean they say that apparently Monsters Butler ratted him out, but I still don't really 100% buy that either.
hmm.
Um there's something more going on there because I mean his father specifically did not want him hanging around with Yo. I remember that specifically too. He did not want him hanging around. I think he even called Yo a belligerent, uh, bad kid or whatever. So, something's going on there we don't really know about. Not that it's gonna be that important, but it just seems kind of weird that they have the outside world get involved, and apparently part of the outside world is Monta's father. They could have pulled anybody, but they pulled Monta's father for that reason. So it just seems kind of weird. They also make it seem like I guess he was there for his son, but I don't really know. Again, there's probably more to that we know of, but
Um, you didn't find it odd that the military had shamans?
I mean, I thought it was odd, but I mean, they could obviously be from some secret organization that probably knew of the spirit world. That's the only thing I can think.
I just thought it was weird. Like I thought shamans were something that pretty much nobody knew about unless you were like
No, I
part of
mean
it.
How specifically, well not How, somebody mentioned specifically that a lot of the shamans that are on Hal's side were people who were ostracized from society. So at some point, the world knew about shamans. I don't think the world was not aware. I don't think the world was aware of the shaman fight, but I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure
they
they
were
were aware
aware
of
of it.
shamans.
I thought they maybe were aware of shamans in the same way that they were aware of vampires. That they were mostly like mysterious, you know what I mean, things that the mainstream people didn't know much about, you know what I mean, that they were more rumor than anything.
No, I don't
I was
think that
surprised to
was.
find out that like
I don't think that was. I mean, it was
anybody.
strange, a little bit, but I don't think it was that strange. especially
Yeah,
if they knew if they knew that whoever they're gonna be fighting was gonna have spirit powers. Though
it,
again,
it threw me off guard. I was just like, militarized shamans was not on my bingo card for this
you have a
series.
bingo card.
Yeah, it wasn't on my bingo card for the series. That's all.
I mean, Manzo's father knowing what the spirit world and also being extremely calm, even though Hal was tearing all his toys up, was also strange. Again, that's what I'm saying. I think specifically there's something going on within his father's mind or whatever, or his family that we don't know about yet. There's
Mhm.
something specific because it just seems so random to me. His father seems to be well prepared that about for Hal. Even saying that it said that he can read minds. Apparently, they even say he after Hal destroys everything, he runs away. I don't buy that either. It seems kind of quick that he runs away after he went through all this trouble to go and invade the island. Like I don't know, like something's up. I don't know what it is. It'd be funny to find out that Manta was a spirit of his dead son.
Yeah.
The entire time he was a dead spirit. Well, not dead spirit, but he was a spirit that everybody could see for whatever reason. But it would be funny actually if that was for me. It'd be comical if that was the case. Um, I guess another thing too is like Manta's father bugged his phone. um, we found this out from Anna, who I want to bring up that I didn't completely understand what Anna was doing because how made it seem like she was working for him based on the translation that I saw. I don't know if you got that vibe. All right, I mean I misunderstood everything that was happening
I
there.
didn't get that vibe. I mean, how is constantly implying that Anna's like his wife, and he's constantly implying that anyone that's helping out Yo is actually helping him out because the stronger Yo gets, the stronger he's going to get when he whatever absorbs him or whatever he has planned for him. So I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on, but I don't see a lot beyond that happening. Do you?
I mean, during that scene where if like Anna talk about you're not gonna go and talk to Manta's father, um, Hal shows up behind all of them and he just makes a comment saying you did a good job or something like that, or it was like you tricked them really well. I don't know. It just to me it seemed like, and maybe I misunderstood. It just seemed really odd that that's what he would say towards Anna. Um, and she didn't seem all that irritated by his presence anymore. Because before, like anytime he showed up, she was very irritated.
He
She didn't want.
seems to think that Yo has a trump card that Hal doesn't realize. She mentioned that he seems to have an ability because they said, "Wait, haven't we already lost?" And she's like, "No, we've got something that he doesn't realize that we have that he doesn't." Was the impression I got.
Oh shoot, we were talking about episode 46. I thought Hal destroyed everything in episode 45. I'm just taking a look at your notes right now and like, well, we already. I really hate to even mention the first thing I see in the first picture that you have on your second page of notes. Um, I guess we can move on to episode 46, which is True Justice.
Wait. Before we do, I just want to point out at 2030, Anna confirms that Monta's father being on the ship doesn't matter, and then so that basically confirms that Monta's still not relevant.
No, Anna just doesn't care about his father.
It proves that Monta's still not relevant. Is all I'm saying.
No, that doesn't.
Oh, it
What
totally
what what
does.
what does Monta's father not being relevant on the thing mean to anything to Monta's relevancy? Monta's his own character.
Because Monta was only going to be relevant in this scene because his father was there. But if his father isn't important, then of course Monta's not really important either because
I
he's
mean, I'm
only
not
important
buying
for
any of
this.
that if I'm being legitimately honest, because like there is something going on there, and maybe Anna doesn't know about it, but there is something fishy going on. Even with the whole you bring up the whole like why does the military have shamans? There is something going on. I still don't understand. I'm not buying any of it. If Monta's father hadn't shown up, I wouldn't care, but like something's going on.
Mhm.
There is something going on, and Monta's the center of it. Because then again, that must have been a translation error, but Monster the Great Spirit did not faint. So by that canon, he's the most powerful shaman there. Moving on.
No, he's horrible.
Fine, you can hate and misshapen characters like you want. I think it's funny because you don't see characters with big heads and small bodies like that in anime. You just don't anymore, and I missed that. I think the art style is unique. Um, Moving on to episode 46. I guess we talked about Howl's destruction. He destroys everything. Apparently, I forgot to mention this too. Apparently, Howl mentions that he can resurrect people. Um, how many I don't really know. He mentions that he can do it. He got a lot of Furyoku, so he can do it. Um, I know Jock is very, very wanting to address this. Still don't think they're really Legos. I think it is battle armor, but
Dude,
he
they are
mentions
absolutely
he mentions
Legos.
Legos here, and he mentions Legos several times throughout the notes. So we'll be coming back to this subject very soon.
Dude, I think personally that the fact that this dude is flying around with Legos for his weapons and armor is the sad power that they're feeling.
Moving
And he
on.
said, I've never felt such power. And then he thinks about it and he goes, but it feels like such a sad power. I think it's sad because it's Legos. I think that's why they're sad. It makes them sad to know that he has to count on Legos for his source of power. That would make me sad.
You do realize the person these Legos are from, he must have had a serious attachment to them for them to be as powerful as they are. That's all they are. Is just, he's using them as a medium. Shamans can only use things they care about as a medium.
Why would he use? He first of all, he made them and to use them, so he has connections to Legos. So
Moving
how is the original Lego Maniac in this series?
moving on. I don't remember Yamada meeting how.
Why are we moving on?
There's nothing to talk about here. You bring attention to something that doesn't really matter.
His medium is Legos.
Not Hal's medium. Hal's medium is something else.
Legos.
No, it's not.
Legos.
Moving on.
Legos.
I don't remember Yamada meeting. I guess you talk about that situation with Masa's father and him flying around his ship. Yeah, I'm ignoring you.
You're doing a
uh,
good job.
yeah, I'm doing a horrible job because I've already like given you so much power in the department as it is. As how I was like flying around his ship. I guess that's the meeting you're referring to. I guess speaking of like the X Law, apparently his machine, his Gundam, is apparently called Azazel, and apparently he can only use it for 30 seconds, which seems like a
But
very
one is enough to destroy the whole island, so it's not 3 seconds. Isn't as bad as it sounds.
I guess why it didn't really work because he fired it at Hao and Hao broke it, essentially breaking the Oversoul and killing him.
Yeah, because Halkin is just broken in general. Can do anything he feels like doing.
Hans Lindner is his name, and apparently you have something leaking to this guy in real life. Oh, Azazel. You got it literally Azazel. I was wondering about that. Look at that.
So Azazel has a really long Wikipedia article with a ton of different mentions of Azazel in mythology, but the one that is definitely the one that they're referring to is, I'm going to take a bad attempt at pronouncing this, Enochic literature, Enochic, Enochic literature. And in Enochic literature, which is in referencing the Dead Sea Scrolls, Azazel is a fallen angel or demon that that basically brought fire to mankind and taught them how to make weapons with it. Like taught them how to. He was like preceding the flood and taught them the art of warfare, of making knives and swords and shields.
Wait a
and
minute.
coats of armor, and taught the art of deception, woman the art of deception by like basically making themselves beautiful, and secrets of witchcraft and things like that. Um, and then he was going to be cast into the fire at the end of all of this. So, what I thought was really interesting about this is the parallels with the Greek Promethean.
I was to bring up that sounds like what happened to Prometheus, but Prometheus got punished by Odin.
He did, but this guy, in some versions of his myth, his punishment was to be strapped to a rock and be disemboweled every day.
But
Like
isn't the more
strapped to
popular? Wasn't the most
strapped to
popular
a
one that
rock
he
in the
dies and
ocean.
comes back?
Right. So, and he's a scapegoat, but like that scapegoat of being strapped to a rock and being disemboweled every day is also what happened to Prometheus. That he had I think it was a vulture or an eagle or something like that would come down and rip his liver, eat his liver every day, and it would grow back or something like that. Was the original. So I thought it was super interesting, but I don't know how much you know about like the original myths of this, and I haven't read through these in a long time, like maybe 15 years. So I'm going to give you the best I can. But basically, what happened with this myth, the Greek version of the myth anyway, was we are the third age of men. The first age of men, the gods made out of gold, and the gold men were incredibly powerful and fought the gods, and they were so powerful the gods like warred with the men made out of gold, and they almost defeated them. And then they made men out of silver, and the men made out of silver were the giants. And the giants turned out to be warlike too and fought the gods, and the gods had to fight them too, and they were too powerful. And the gods ended up saving, and they were going to lose that battle, except that two of the giants turned against their brethren and sided with the gods, and the two that sided with the gods were allowed to live. And the two that were allowed to live were Prometheus and Atlas. And I think I'm screwing up the story, but Atlas was punished by being forced to hold up the earth.
But I do remember correctly, I think Atlas is the one holding up the Earth. But I didn't know that was a
Yeah,
punishment.
but there's another one that was like there's another story about someone that was forced to roll a boulder up too, so I don't know how much I'm mixing up my legends right now. Prometheus was a friend to mankind, like a great friend to mankind and a teacher, and men was the third age, and the third age of men was made out of iron, and the idea behind the third age of men that were made out of iron was that they would rust, and every generation became weaker than the one before it, which is so when fed into the idea of old men's going, kids these days, they don't know what they have, and blah, 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 and every generation being like shittier than the one before it is because we're made out of iron and we're rusting, and as we get rustier and more decrepit, like every generation is actually literally worse than the one before it. So the Prometheus, to help men, stole fire from Olympus and brought it to them. And the problem with that was that when men got fire from Olympus, it made them powerful enough to hold their own against the gods, which continued the problem of the gold and silver men. You know what I mean? That now men could potentially be a threat to the gods, and that ticks the gods off. So they punished Prometheus by strapping him to rocks in the ocean, by the ocean, and having an eagle come and eat his liver every day and rip it out. And I think it was Hercules or something like that that came and freed Prometheus. But eventually, a man came, a heroic man came and freed Prometheus. So having this Azazel be on a boat was interesting because of the fact that Prometheus was strapped by an ocean. You know what I mean? By the ocean, was rescued by a man that came and saved him. And here we have a man that's on a boat, you know, in a battleship that has this angel on his side, and it's like almost like he just went out and saved it. You know what I mean? Or like he was a seagoing person in the first place that was able to save this god, you know, fallen angel, or in this case, like a Promethean kind of character, and save it. So when I was watching this, I was like, this is really cool that like this thing's parallels, even though Azazel is its own mythology. Like I've always sort of fascinated with how mythology and biblical things and stuff like that all seem so familiar, even when they're like there's no way they could parallel each other. Like I've seen things from like Native American tribes in Alaska that is incredibly similar to Christian, like biblical stories and things like that. And I always like one of their flood myths, for example. And I'm always really fascinated on the parallels. But I found this one, the similarities between this in particular with Prometheus, I thought was really, really cool. But anyway, yeah. So he taught people how to use fire, which of course would also teach them how to make metal and forge and things like that. So indirectly, Prometheus also taught men how to make weapons, which is probably why the gods were ticked off, because that would be the big reason that men could become powerful enough to challenge the gods. If they were able to learn fire, then they were also able to learn how to forge things. It wasn't because now they can shoot fiery arrows or something, you know what I mean? It would be because now they can build like a lot of things that fire allows you to build.
That's intriguing.
Mm.
So that's intriguing.
Yeah, so I thought that was all really interesting. That was one of the more fun things that I thought came out of Shaman King, was like discovering this character that like in many different religions, Islam and Christianity and Judaism and everything else, Hebrew, you know what I mean, that like spread across all of them, but actually really reminded me of Prometheus, even though he's not even in the Wikipedia page. And I knew all this stuff about Prometheus from taking classes on him in college, and that just, I was like, wow, the web is like really deep here. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
We're just gonna gloss over Amano Tiriku, the voodoo chick who main goal is to be able to get money to get a boyfriend, dies before she gets a chance to stab the voodoo doll, which he apparently had hair from Hal on, which is even weirder to me because she mentions that somebody, I think it was an ex-law, or she mentions somebody gave her a piece of like hair, and I don't know who it was.
It sounded like because she said she got it from the bath or something, and the man with glasses gave it to her. It made me think that it was almost definitely given to her by Marco,
Still would make sense.
because he's the only one. He's the only one there that would have had glasses, right?
Well, Chocolate Love had glasses.
No, it doesn't seem like Chocolate's style. Plus, this is an X-Law.
Was she an ex-law? I didn't get that.
But no, she wasn't an X-Law, but she had X-Law connections. You know, it makes a lot more sense to have been given to it by someone
But
that
was Marco
was.
in the bath with them?
No, he wasn't. But at least Marco like knew that there was an X-Law on the ship. You know, he at least had some semblance of a connection to what was going on.
Yeah, but Marco still was shocked that he was even there when he mentioned when Lucas mentioned his name. He looked shocked.
Yeah, I don't know, because that was the hints we got, though, that it was somebody, that he got it from the bath. You know, he didn't actually, I don't know, because he didn't actually have to be in the bath to get the hair. But if he didn't, then how would he have known that it was House? Especially when Howe's twin was in the bath too.
But the thing is, I'm more. I get what you're saying, and I could believe that. But what I'm more confused about is why didn't Marco look so confused and concerned that he was there? Because I mean, if he gave him the hair, he should have expected.
You're absolutely right, and I have no answer for that at all.
Well, actually, he didn't give the hair to that guy. If he gave the hair to anybody, I guess he gave it to her. I guess he wasn't expecting her to be there, maybe. because he wasn't really shocked that she was there. He was just shocked that there was an X law on the ship to begin with. So never mind.
Yeah,
I don't think one has to do with the other. So never mind. Um,
I don't know. It's very confusing to me. The whole thing was very like threw me off.
I guess moving on. We learned that apparently Hao trained in hell for 900 years, but spent 100 years on Earth. The man's effectively 1,000 years old, which is a number to keep throwing around. Uh,
Well, his spirit is 1,000 years old. I think that's an important distinction.
no, he's 1,000 years old because I mean his spirit and him are the same thing.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not 1,000-year-old man
I
at
mean
least. You know,
physically he's like 12, but reality he's very old.
physically he's like 12. I like how you built that up for us.
I had to think about what I was going to say as soon as I was saying because I didn't have a good didn't have a good leeway towards it. I guess you notice here we were talking about the Bermuda Triangle, but this is the episode where he brings up the beard. There's a triangular region out in the ocean that seems to swallow up anything that interesting. I thought it was funny that Hal was the one that brings that up. I guess it makes sense he would know about it, but at the same time, it's just funny that he brings that up. We would not know canonically the Bermuda Triangle's in the show. Whether we'll see it or not remains to be seen.
Um, I wonder if the shaman battle will be happening in the Bermuda Triangle.
No, it's happening. Well, the battle's already over. You're talking about the fight with Hal. They're gonna do it in the Land of Mew.
Yeah, but the land of Mew is underwater and doesn't have to not be where the Bermuda Triangle is.
I guess, but you think that like I guess he brought it up. I don't know. I don't know. Something just tells me I don't think that that's where they are right now.
I'm not saying I definitely think that's the case, but there's no set in stone reason that it can't be the case either.
I guess you're right. It just seems kind of weird that Hal brings that up. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, he brought it up, so I guess it could mean anything. But you think he would say that's where we are right now, not that there's an interesting region, that triangle region out there that swallows anything up.
Well, he could be putting it that way because they all know it.
I guess.
I mean, if they all knew it, he wouldn't be like, "Well, that's where we are, guys," you know, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we know."
I guess. I
And
mean, I guess
talking
that'd
to
be.
the
I
audience.
guess that's the way to put it. I guess is that everybody knew, and he was just being he was just being Hal. After everything's been settled, then Hal massacres everybody. It is brought up by Anna that Hal did not kill Manta's father, and they bring up an interesting weakness out of the blues that even he has a hard time trying to kill somebody's parents,
Yeah.
which is intriguing to me. It's like, what's that gonna do for us in the future?
Anyone listening to the podcast, that comes up at 9:10 of the episode, 9 minutes and 10 seconds in. So, I thought that was a really interesting one. That's actually before the Bermuda Triangle reference at 10 minutes and 14 seconds.
I'm getting my events mixed up then, but okay, I
That's all
apologize.
right. No,
Um,
it's all right.
but he brings up that he can't kill someone's parents, which is an odd weakness. Anna finds it interesting. I guess that means maybe there's still a little bit of humanity within Hal that maybe can be reached. I guess they're going with this whole idea that Hal can be saved. Um, After all that's taken care of, Hal massacred everybody. Well, not everybody, just massacred all the machines. We cut to everybody making it into the submarine that takes them to the land of Mia, which is underwater. We apparently find out that you can breathe underneath there because the patch are using their oversouls to make an area suitable to breathe underneath there. And as they're about to go towards the battlefield to fight, Yo pretty much just says that we're all standing down. There's no point in fighting because we know Hal's gonna win. I thought that was random, and I started getting really confused. I was like, "What's the point of this battlefield then? You're not gonna just have us blue balled here, are you?" And then I guess we find out that the whole goal is for Yo and the gang to go and defeat Hal while he's powering up. House seems very happy, and he might have already saw this coming, which I think was the whole point of, like, I guess him displaying his power. I think maybe he was just trying to get them to back down, and I guess it didn't work the way he expected it. I'm guessing because he does bring the fact that he thinks he can still beat them in his sleep, uh, which is an even weirder thing for him to say.
Yeah, he's a little cocky at that point.
But Hao is now the Shaman King, and he goes to the deepest part of the Mu Temple to receive the Great Spirit. And as it's happening, Yo's gonna say that we're all gonna go in there and we're gonna use the patch to Ren says we're gonna use the patch as a stepping stone to get more powerful. Um, After that, Lucas decides to get involved and says that he's gonna stand in their way and stop them because nobody, even him, is allowed inside there. Uh, he takes off his clothes again. Ugh. And Marco ends up saying that he's gonna take him on, and he takes his clothes off again. Ugh. I'm sorry, I'm very uncomfortable with all this stripping.
Yeah, it's basically like now this show is a hentai.
No, 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 no,
It is though.
no,
It's now a hentai.
no. Um, well, and like now they're going to have their one final showdown. Last was about to get involved in, and Yo's like, no, let them die as they want. Which is even weirder for Yo to say. But I guess we learned too is like Leo didn't want to say that, but you know it was gonna happen. Somebody was gonna die here. Um, they both fight, reminiscing about their childhood or their what their life was like beforehand. And pretty much Marco ends up pulling a Yo with Luke Chris and ends up shooting Luke Chris and himself somehow.
Luchist.
Yo, Lucius, sorry, Lucius in the chin and him somehow. I don't know how that worked out.
I didn't get that either. I thought somebody else stepped in and shot him, and that was like a plot twist, and then it didn't happen, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna try not to think too hard about what's going on here because it doesn't make sense. And then I just
Maybe
stopped
doing that
thinking
double
about it.
thing took his spirit power out of him, and then that last shot was just a end all be all type of situation where his spirit energy was just gone. He couldn't recover enough to stay alive.
Yeah, I didn't know. When I saw the gun go through him too, I thought maybe I missed like some sort of like jerky movement, or then I thought maybe somebody like stepped in from off screen or something, and then I just was like, all right, I'm just never gonna understand this, and I just tried to let it go. But whatever happened, I wasn't a big fan because I just didn't understand it.
And then Marco and Lucius go off in their spirit form to wherever they're going. I laughed so hard when I saw like, are you serious? They're both dead in their spirit form, but they're just gonna float away to the into the Great Spirit.
What is the did I don't know if I missed you saying this a second ago, but did you do you have any idea why Lucius has a four-leaf clover on his nose on his chin? Did you
Um,
say that and I missed you saying it?
no, I didn't really talk much about Lucius's like design. I don't really understand either.
I didn't understand why he had a four-leaf clover. I didn't get the connection there. But okay.
I mean, we can hold on 1 minute. Just gonna look up the four leaf clover and the devil. Maybe there's a connection there. History behind the four leaf clover. Hundreds of years ago in Ireland, the four leaf clover became a symbol of luck, with four leaves representing faith, hope, love, and success. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of like what the story of Lucius went through when he was a part of like the X-Laws. He had faith, hope with a mate with a maiden. Um, he didn't have any success with because that's why when he went to go attack Hal and he lost, he went with him. They even bring up love and attacking Hal with a lot of love, but I thought was even creepier.
The only
Talk
thing
about
I could think, the only thing I could think of is that the three-leaf clover in Ireland is often considered like related to the Holy Trinity, and that adding one more leaf to the clover to make four would just be sort of ironic, since Lucius is like loosely like Lucifer, and that you've got the three-leaf clover, and then representing the Holy Trinity, and then you've got one more with Lucifer. You know what I mean? There was like some sort of joke, but I couldn't quite get it. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was a little bit far.
It's probably just a design choice on his chin. I don't know.
It's just right there, and it's so obvious in this one, especially when he gets shot in the chin. You know? I mean, talk about literally in your face. Sorry, I'll be here all week.
Will you? Uh,
Yeah, like, really? Could you not?
um, here's the obligatory 15 at 15 minutes and 32 seconds. Jock is upset with the Legos. I didn't see that in that shot, and he has a screenshot of a close-up version of that Lego in the kid's hand.
Why are they doing that? You have literally stopped me at every point about every Lego, but there is no ambiguity at 15 minutes and 32 seconds that is absolutely, unambiguously, unequivocally a Lego toy in the weak ass, like, sickly looking, hookworm looking boy's hand.
I'm gonna point this out here. I didn't even see that, so this is the first time I'm seeing it.
I've got Lego radar at this point, but hookworm boy there has a Lego in his hand. There's no denying it. That is a Lego.
This is the first
It is a
time.
six-block
Also,
rectangular, a 6-point rectangular Lego
I like to
in
point
his
out.
hand.
I like to point out that every time he's not even live with his Lego radar. I have not been seeing Legos after the episode with the Lego Man. For whatever reason, this has really been Jock's mission to point out every single Lego artist piece in this entire show. It's becoming really weird. I'm actually
Why are
concerned.
you saying Lego and
Please,
artist and the same thing in reference to this show? There's nothing artistic about it. It's just bile.
again, he has made his point. It's in his notes here. If at some point we can release these notes as part of like history, I would like to release these things unaltered.
Unaltered history of my notes.
Yes. Um. Well, yes, we got here. We were talking about like apparently Marco's dead. I don't know how he did it. I'm very confused. As we already stated, that it looked like he only had his gun. Maybe I know Vladislav pulled his gun out, but I didn't think he fired it.
If he didn't fire, then why are they both dead?
I I don't know. I'm very confused. I never did understand. Like I know he Vladislav pulled his gun out, but that was after we heard the gunshot. So like the timing and everything doesn't make sense. Maybe Lucius shot him too, and we just didn't see it.
I mean, I guess that would be a good counter, right? I mean, if he shot himself in the head, and there's only so much that he can do about that.
I guess Mark he says there's a line here that I guess is a good way to close out Marco's like little character arc. Is Marco is so much like Vash at this point that he might as well start shouting love and peace.
Love and peace.
He does say love. Or is that Lucius that says love?
He does. He goes, love, go love. Spend the rest of your life in love.
Then we have Yo yell out a perfect line of Yo losing his cool here is that if you all know the answer, then why do you see everything in black and white?
The weird thing here is they said, if we'd taken a bath with you, then maybe we would have. Which, and to me, has two really important significances to it. One, this is the lesser of the one. It adds more mystery to how the hair from the bath found its way over if Marco didn't have it. Because Marco is obviously the one that's dropping the glasses. You know what I mean? Like he dropped the glasses like in this scene because then they're literally wearing them when they run off because it was like his medium that he used. Like his glasses are extremely iconic to the character. So we know the glasses are important. You know what I mean? And then, but when they say the one with the glasses gave it to me, like, what are they talking about if not him at that point?
There's a character we don't know of that has glasses? Or a character we've already seen?
And I feel like they want us to at least think that it's Marco, right?
Did Montes Butler have glasses?
I don't know. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is that no, Marco and Lucius didn't take a bath with them, but How did. So is this like a hint that Yo is starting to change How? Like,
Nah,
is this the writers kind of winking at us and saying that Yo is making some progress at changing How?
nah.
Really? Because How didn't kill Manta's
Yeah, but
father.
the way Anna made that seem like there was always a weakness for him. He said, I think he mentioned too.
She
He's
didn't say
always
it
he's
like it
always
was
had a
always a weakness for him. She said, "Have we found a weakness?"
no. The way Hal made it seem like he always had a problem with this. That he could never kill a parent, a somebody's father, or
But
his
we,
parents.
okay, so let's bring up the Legos in a serious way because they are getting shoved down our throat, even if you're not noticing them. Is there a connection between the Legos and fatherhood for Hal and something from his childhood?
That Lego guy that you seem to have a disdain for is mentioned to have found Hal as a baby.
Yes, and I understand what you're saying there, but is there some connection to fatherhood and the fact and the Lego guy was given his Legos by Hal? We know that much.
Possibly, I don't know.
We do. The anime tells you that in one of the previous episodes.
What I was saying there's a connection between fatherhood and the Legos. Maybe I don't really know.
But I mean, wouldn't that be interesting if that was one of the things that was going on here? If like we were getting primed for like some story later on.
I say that I don't think Hal is changing, and I say this because we've gone too we've gone too far into the show at this point. For them to pull that would mean there's another villain, but there's so little time for them to introduce a new villain that I doubt they would pull that rug. It wouldn't make any sense. I get that Yo wants to end this violence, and so did if I'm gonna make a comparison to Yo's character of being a pacifist to somebody else in another show. Aang was like this as well. Aang wanted to end the war with the Fire Nation peacefully. He did not want to kill Ozai. Granted, he found a way. Um, but Ozai was still made to be the villain. They spent too much time building How this way for him to suddenly change his mind would be so random, and to me wouldn't be good storytelling because at this point you've already put yourself into this hole. How has got to be defeated. How is the villain? There's
I
no.
don't disagree, but at the same time, wouldn't it be bad storytelling to have this build up not go anywhere? Like they've been building up to this for a pretty long time at this point. It's got to do something,
Well,
or otherwise.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like, I would be happy if there was some other character that was shown to be that could be the major evil, but there's no other character like that. Unless there is a character I haven't noticed him. Is there somebody else that is clearly going to be the major evil here that we just haven't that hasn't been doing a lot? I just have not been paying attention to him
Um,
because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, if they're going to make Hal the good guy, then they're going to have to do it in these next two episodes. But at the same time, they're still dealing with the Patch Tribe, and they got to defeat them before they can get to Hal. And the Patch Tribe can't be the evil villain because like they're trying to stop Hal. They're trying to stop Yo because that's what their job is. They're not doing it because they want to. It's just their job. Unless it's somebody in the Patch Tribe that I haven't seen.
I don't think it's impossible that the Patch Tribe turns out to be a little more menacing than we think.
I don't know. I just feel like it'd be bad storytelling for how to suddenly
I mean,
change
when the Patch Tribe
sides.
has been shitty through this whole thing, like, I mean, not the whole Patch Tribe, but a lot of the Patch Tribe has not been the nicest people for sure.
Well, I mean, the people you're talking about are the people who followed Hal, though.
Yeah, but we can definitely say the Patch Tribe is not like the greatest people in the world.
Well, I mean, they're following their law. I mean, I know it's stupid, but they're following their tribal law.
Yeah.
So I just say, all I can say is like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really, I understand you're talking about like, if they're building all this up, they're putting in stuff that maybe Hal can change, but it's like either the only way that I could say that maybe Hal changing sides would be satisfying is that maybe during their clash, Yo's not backing down, Hal's not backing down. Hal is having this. We learn more about Hal throughout the fight, and we learn about his backstory. We learned that he's had a really troubling childhood. I mean, granted, based on what we know of him, he's definitely had a really troubled past. But the only way that would be satisfying is during their clash, they fight, and like maybe the Great Spirit is revealed to be the greater evil. I have no idea. Um,
What
is there
if
that?
the Great Spirit takes a role in helping to change him?
I don't know. I'd be satisfied with that either.
Yeah.
I think at this point, I'm more interested in seeing Yo take Hal down. I mean, he doesn't have to kill him, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. I've been fed this Hal is the greatest evil of all time storyline. Like he is evil. He has to be stopped.
You've also been fed the storyline that Hal used to be very kind, and you've also been fed the storyline that Anna is like Hal, and that she learned how to overcome it, and that Hal is strangely intrigued by Anna.
I think maybe like this one getting at is I don't think I'd be satisfied either way. I don't know. It had to be how they handle it. I guess is basically if they're gonna make Hal the a good guy, or at least change him in the middle of the final fight. Okay, fine. That's how they want to do it. But I think they would have to do it in a smart way, and I don't know what smart way that is. It's like how like when I was watching Avatar for the first time, and I was very upset with Aang's not wanting to fight Ozai or take him down. I was very upset because like, how are you gonna stop this man? You can't stop him without killing him. And then they find a way to stop him by taking his bending away. So I was like, okay, that was satisfying. I didn't expect that. So maybe there's a satisfying way to take down Hal. Maybe take away his ability to control spirit. I have no idea. Cause like I mean, like Hal is supposed to be unless there is maybe the past tribe is the greater evil. I mean, I'm not gonna look. I can't look past that. Silva's been looking very menacing, as he's actually been looking menacing here. As he's stopping them after Lucas and Marco go off in a merry way to have tea and biscuits in the afterlife. I don't know what they're doing over there. Um, they walk their way in there, and then Silva stops them. And pretty much everybody tries to attack Silva, and Silva himself. We're back to the episode, by the way. Silva, Silva take down everybody. Ren is watching him fight. Ren, in a very out of character, I would say out of character way, tells Rio to stay out of it because he's not powerful enough. He does say that he's gotten stronger. He makes a reference that I think he wants to fight Ryu at some point, which is even weirder to me because he's barely given Ryu any praise at all, and this is the first time I think he's ever given him any praise. That's kind of interesting too. Is like he
Yeah, he's
needs
like, you started out disgusting, and you're not disgusting now, or something like that. But
he person they're probably gonna need him for a future fight, which is even weirder to me. Is like, wait, so there's a fight in the future that we're gonna need him for?
and he
I'm
was
not,
like, don't throw yourself away because when you do,
and then like Yo mentions to Silva that I've been meaning to settle this score with you. I was very shocked that Silva was the next one they're gonna have to fight. I was expecting Silva to be like the final one. I mean, even Yo says that exact same thing. I was expecting him to be like the last fighter they were gonna have to fight. So something else is going on here that we don't really know of. And Silva wanted to be the first one to fight Yo, apparently.
mm-hmm.
And first he's first in the episode with Yo and fighting Stan's way to fight Silva. Um, but I guess to end my thought on that whole like I guess them turning Hal into a good guy, I just don't know. I feel like they were going to do they would have done that a long time ago. Because like I feel like it's too late right now in the story to change him.
I don't know. They've been building up to it. Sometimes I'm right about these things.
I, I mean, I just don't know how I feel about that. I would have to watch it happen. I'm not gonna suggest that it's impossible. I just feel like it's just too late in the story to attempt this, because you would have to have it happen in the fight. I think at this point, there's no other way for it to happen. Um, and I think even that's too late because now you're gonna have them having a talk during their fight. I mean, that's typical anime fashion, but still, it's just like I don't know. It just seems to me, it just seems kind of late. I mean, I know they've been feeding these things about the how it was not always this way, and I get that. I'm not gonna ignore that. But it just seemed like to me it didn't matter. Now we're at this point, and it's like, how Yo is still trying to find a way to change him. We learned about his inability to kill a parental figure. I don't know how they're gonna like, unless, and this would be really freaking weird because we definitely did see Montemune in the afterlife, though I don't know where he went. Because he says if he stays here, he's gonna end up like I think a Souskin or whatever, the Yo's predecessor. If he stayed there, so I don't know where he went. Montemune's still running around in his cat Nekomuni form, so maybe they're leading. Maybe then he looked at that cat as like as a parental figure. I guess I don't really know.
What did you say at the end there?
No, I was saying as to end my thought about how I just like trying to figure out how they would turn him into a good guy for it to make sense and be satisfying. Um, the whole cat thing, his like,
They don't have to turn him into a good guy. They just have to turn him back into a good guy. He started out as a good character.
I know, but we've been through all this rigmarole. Like, I feel like what was the point of it all? They were just gonna make him a good guy. Well, back to a good guy.
Why not? That's Yo's thing. Everybody he meets ends up good. Yo in episode 1 said that he believes all shamans are good.
Yeah, but I just feel like
I mean, that was the first time that like we saw some foreshadowing. It's like in episode 1 when he's like, "I think all shamans are good," or "I know all shamans are good," and that was it. And then straight up from like Ryu like being like a jerk and Faust being evil and like the characters that he's been coming across, like a lot of them are pretty awful, and he's changed pretty much all of them one way or the other as he's gone through. And How is like knows that he's trying to do it, and like he's been talking with him and interacting with him, and it's clear to him that that's what he's trying to do. And he's even trying to bait him a little bit into it, but at the same time, you see that he didn't kill Manta's father, and there's this little, and he did also. Yo also got him to agree not to kill anybody and to resurrect anyone he did kill. And you see this like spark in him of like him like kind of coming out of this like not being quite as terrible as he could be.
I
Like
just like I'm going off my preconceived notions. I just don't think I'd be satisfied with that ending. It's like I just don't think it'd be good. And I
doesn't
guess
mean like
I guess I don't
you
have to
can
like
do it.
every ending of every show I watch, but it's like I so far I've come away liking almost every ending of a show I watched. I just like
Yeah.
I really find it hard. I found it really hard for me to have waited all these years to watch this anime come to an actual end because I never read the manga, and for it to
Yeah.
end that way, I don't know. I feel like I waited so long. It's kind of like how I felt like when I got to the end of another show. Um, I felt like I felt cheated, and I don't want to walk away from the show
Is
feeling
it a
cheated.
show that I'm typing the name of in Discord right now?
No, it's not that.
Because that show built up to a showdown at the end of it that didn't happen in the way that we thought it was going to happen.
No, it wasn't Trigun. It was this show that I think I talked to you about this about Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game show back when Yu-Gi-Oh was a thing, and it was a craze.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember that one of the bigger story points in that one, besides the card dueling and the shadow realm, was that the main character, the Pharaoh, that show was about like evil people being redeemed in some form or shape or form. But the main character was a pharaoh, was the spirit of a pharaoh that was a bad guy when he was alive. He got trapped into a puzzle, and it was split apart. It was supposed to be his tomb forever. he was gonna be here forever. We're thinking about all the evil he's done. A little kid ends up getting the puzzles and putting them together, and he ends up possessing the guy whenever they're getting to a car fight. And one of the main things was that he didn't remember his name, and like that was such a big thing. It was like his name was like, what's his name? And like they built it, like, they made his name seem so epic, and it was gonna be like the best thing ever. And I read the manga that continued finding out what his name was. When I got to the end of it and I found his name, I felt cheated. I felt like I wasted all this time and got the name, and it wasn't even as. I probably the only one who thought that, but at the same time, it wasn't. Just like I wasted all my time reading this thing to get to the point, and then that's the name. I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't get what I was expecting. If I was expecting anything, to me, just
Right.
like I liked the show and I was following all the way through. I put my time and effort into it, and I just felt like if that's what we're building up to, is that Hal giving up his his um his dream to enslave humanity because Yo said so, because like asked him to, because his younger brother. To me, it's like, and maybe it could be satisfying. You never really know.
Sorry.
I mean, I just like it could be satisfying. I don't know. I'm making an assumption on something I haven't seen yet, but I just like I'm going off a gut reaction of what you're insinuating this is gonna happen. It doesn't make me happy because I spent this entire. I get that Yo and Hao have clashed, but it made this fight seem inevitable, and it just like at least with Aang from the Avatar, the final for me, the finale for that was actually really good because like it wasn't a fight, but it was how it was Aang finding a new power to use. So it was like that was amazing, and it fit in the world to me. It was random that he came across a spirit turtle, but I mean, hey, look, we were always trying to look for something. We always look for something else that we didn't know was out there. Maybe that's what's gonna happen here. I have no idea.
We know so little about the Great Spirit, but I think that the Great Spirit could be a game changer here. Like, what does having the memories of every living being ever do to your personality?
I guess you got a fair point, but still, it's just like I don't know if I find that if I'll find that satisfying.
Do you know what I mean, though? Like, when he goes there, like, he's about to have a pretty big revelation. He's going to be given the memories of every living being ever, and you can't do that and still be like, I'm going to rule the world. Can
You
you?
say
Or maybe
that,
you can.
you say that, but I still think you could. You just have
You
all
could.
the you just have all the information in the world at your disposal now. I think you could
Right,
still
but
be evil.
I think you come out of that a different person, so we'll have to see.
We won't be seeing for a while though, because we still got to get past Silva and the rest of the gang.
Yeah. Well,
I,
we don't have that many more episodes.
I guess you're right. I don't know. I still feel like I'll give it. I'll give the show the benefit of the doubt, but I just like right now I'm just like if this is where we're going, I don't know if I'm gonna be happy with the ending.
It's
And
it's
that's
not just going to be Ren fighting Hal. It can't be. There's still too much stuff to like resolve.
I don't think there's much more to resolve, really. I mean, all that's left is them stopping Hal right now. That's really all that's left. I mean, and Manta's stuff, but I don't think Manta's background's going to come into play. Unless it does, and I'd be quite surprised. But,
We have 3 episodes left.
wait, what?
Oh, we have 3 episodes scheduled left. Sorry.
I
We
was
have
supposed to, I was
six
supposed to say,
episodes
good
left.
gracious.
We have 6 episodes left.
Yeah, I feel like that's all going to be dedicated to this like, traveling down that tunnel to get to Hal.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how it would take 6 episodes if they have to push Iron Maiden around in that stupid thing the whole time.
You mentioned that the jerks leaving to push Iron Maiden around. I was like,
She's a dick. they can be like, hey, Iron Maiden, could you hop out maybe and walk a little bit, princess? And
I
she's
mean,
like, no,
she's trying to
could you
push herself
push
to
me,
she's trying to
please?
push herself to death or near death so she can get more power.
This is a good time to chill out and rest up a little bit. You've got to like hook up your Furyoki right now, right?
That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to get more Furyoku. She's trying to bring herself to death, near death, so she can boost that power.
You don't work out every second right up until a fight. Like you rest for a few minutes.
How do you rest from bleeding near to death?
What I'm saying is like if you're like training for a boxing match, you don't work out like do an intense workout
But
and
she's
then like
but
get
she's
them
been in
like
that, as far as we know, for 24/7, 365
if
days of
you're
the
training
year.
for a marathon, you don't like bike to the marathon and hop off and jog in place while you're waiting to start the marathon and be like, all right, we're ready to go. Okay, go. And then you've been like jogging and biking for like 12 days before then without sleep. You stop and you rest and you recuperate and you pull yourself together and then you go out. You don't like. She's not gonna like hop out of this fucking thing like please, pardon my French, but like she's not gonna like hop out covered in blood and like naked and 12 years old or however old she is and then put some clothes on and be like, all right, let's go. Like you've got to like rest and recover your Furyuku. Like yes, your maximum Furyuku might be raising even as she's being wheeled around in this Iron Maiden, but like you've at some point you have to accept the fact that like it's time to chill out a little bit,
You
put
do
some
realize what's
clothes
gonna
on.
happen though. She's gonna hop out and she's gonna have clothes and she's gonna be ready to fight. You do realize what's gonna happen, right?
No, because they keep cutting to her like in within the Iron Maiden, and you see her covered in blood and stuff like that. All I'm saying is that we got cheated out of the bath scene.
You said we got you out of Bastion. I think I'm good. There's been a lot of underage naked bodies in this show, and I'm very uncomfortable now. Like, I don't think I've ever had an anime make me feel so uncomfortable, but that right there was like, I'm
She's probably the one that Horo likes.
probably, but she's too pure. I don't think she'd. Sorry, I couldn't sit there with a straight face. I highly doubt it. Maybe it is. I have no. We'll find out eventually. Um, we know Yo and Honest end up together anyway. That's like what that whole relationship is about anyway. I guess with that, with the underage naked kids, we're gonna end this off here.
That's
Well,
a good note to end on. You have to be fair.
I guess I don't really know, but we're just gonna move on. Like
You
I'm,
know that you have fantasies every single night of her walking out covered only in Legos.
thanks
That's
everybody for
that's the
watching.
dream.
We're gonna end it here. Bye.